I worked the overnight front desk at an old hotel for almost 2 years. In that time, I learned a lot of things. I learned which guests would be trouble. I learned how to fix the ancient coffee machine when it broke at 4 am. I learned every creak and groan of that building. But the most important thing I learned was that room 412 was never to be booked, under any circumstances, for any reason. Nobody told me why. They just told me to make sure it never happened. And one night, it did. Part 1, the rules. When I started the job, the manager, a quiet woman who'd worked there for 30 years, sat me down on my first night. She handed me a laminated card with the hotel's overnight protocols. Standard stuff: how to handle late check-ins, who to call if the fire alarm goes off, what to do if a guest is locked out. Then she pointed to the last line on the card. It read in bold, "Room 412 is permanently out of service. Do not assign, do not enter, do not discuss with guests." I asked her why. She just looked at me for a long moment and said, "It's just always been that way." And then she went home. Part 2, the first few months. For the first few months, nothing happened. I'd see room 412 on the system, grayed out, marked unavailable. Sometimes I'd walk past it on the 4th floor when I was doing my rounds. The door looked exactly like every other door on that floor. Same number, same handle, same brass plate. But I'll be honest with you, I started to feel something every time I walked past it. It's hard to describe. It wasn't fear exactly. It was more like the feeling you get when you know someone is staring at you from across a room, that prickling on the back of your neck. Every single time with that one door. I started taking the long way around the 4th floor to avoid it. Part 3, the night ITHAPPNED. It was a Tuesday, quiet night, maybe 20 guests in the whole hotel. Around 2 am, a man walked in. He was tall, wearing a long dark coat that was completely dry, even though it had been pouring rain outside for hours. No umbrella, no bag, no car visible in the parking lot. He walked straight up to my desk and said, "I have a reservation." I checked the system. There was no reservation under his name. I told him so. He smiled, not a friendly smile, a patient one, like a teacher waiting for a slow student to catch up. He said, "Check again, room 412. I felt my stomach drop. I told him that room was out of service. He couldn't stay there. He just kept smiling. He said, "Check again." And I swear to you, I have no explanation for this. When I looked back at the screen, there was a reservation, under his name, for room 412, booked 3 weeks earlier. I hadn't refreshed the page, I hadn't typed anything, it just appeared. Part 4, I made a mistake. I should have called the manager. I should have called the police, honestly. But it was 2 am and I was tired, and the man was just standing there, smiling, waiting, and the reservation was right there on the screen. So I did what I'd been trained to do. I handed him the key card. He took it, said thank you, and walked toward the elevators. As he passed the lobby clock, I noticed something. He cast no reflection in the polished brass of the elevator doors. The elevator opened, he stepped in, the doors closed. I watched the floor indicator light up the floors as he went up. *1, 2, 3, 4. It stopped on 4. And then immediately, without any pause, without the doors opening, it started going back down. *4, 3, 2, 1. The elevator dinged, the doors opened in front of me. It was empty. Part 5, what I heard. For the next 4 hours, I didn't move from that desk. I just sat there, watching the camera feed for the 4th floor. The hallway was empty. No one came out of room 412. No one went in, no movement at all. But at exactly 4 am, I heard something through the lobby speakers. The hotel had an old intercom system that connected to every room. Guests could use it to call the front desk if their phone wasn't working. A voice came through. It wasn't the man's voice. It was a woman's voice, crying, sobbing like she'd been crying for hours. She said 3 words. She said, "He's still here." The intercom cut out. I checked the system. The call had come from room 412. Part 6, the morning after. When the day manager came in at 7 am, I told her everything. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she walked to the computer, opened the reservation system, and showed me the screen. There was no reservation for room 412 that night. There never had been. The key card I'd handed out was still in the drawer where I'd left it the night before, untouched. I asked her, "What is room 412? She finally told me. In 1974, a woman had been murdered in that room by her husband. He checked them in under a false name, killed her, and disappeared. He was never caught. She said very quietly, "Sometimes he comes back, he likes to check in again." She paused. "That's why we don't let him." Outro. I quit that job 2 weeks later. I never went up to the 4th floor again. I never saw the man in the dark coat again. But sometimes, late at night, when the rain is hitting my window just right, I still hear that woman's voice. He's still here. If this story creeped you out, subscribe. I post a new story every week. And if you've ever worked an overnight job and experienced something you can't explain, tell me in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one. Good night.